Okay, and then the next thing I usually do after I put the power supply in is let's actually take the motherboard out of the box and let's see what comes with it, and I'll show you what some of the parts are that come with the motherboard. This is an ASUS brand motherboard again, and they make some of the best quality motherboards usually, although they have some hits and misses just like any other company does. I'm just taking out some of the cables that come with it, and then I will show you what those are. Tell you about those. Okay. This little accessory here is in case you want to use two video cards at the same time, and you hook the two video cards together. I'll show you more about that in just a second. And these are cables for hooking hard drives to the motherboard so that the motherboard can connect to them. So we'll make sure to keep those. Let's open the little static protective bag here. And look at this baby. This is a pretty motherboard. We also have our handbook there, guidebook. Let's take a closer look at this real quickly. If you're not familiar with what a motherboard looks like on the inside, right here is where, I'll tilt it up so it's a little easier to see. Right here is where we're going to put the processor, the Intel i5 chip. These little slots right here are where the memory goes. This is where one of these power cords go. See this one right here? That clips right into that space right there. These are where hard drives connect using these cables right here. So these cables will plug one end into these 6 slots, so it looks like you can hook 6 hard drives into this motherboard at one time, although sometimes there are some other hard drive connectors in other places, but we're just going to be connecting 2, and they included 2 cables with it, so we're fine right there. So this is some of the control processors. Have a heat spreader to keep them cool right here. Going around here, these are where you can hook in USB connectors. For example, this USB connector that we saw right here inside the case is going to plug in right over here into one of these. These are called USB headers right here. Going around here, these are where some of the fans connect in. This is where they get their power. These are where you can plug in accessories like video cards or extra USB connector cards or television cards. We'll plug into these connectors right here. Let's turn this board around and look at the back side. These are the external connectors where we can connect things. These are 2 USB ports. This is an old style PS2 keyboard connector right there. This looks like an HDMI port, and I'm not sure what that other one is. It could be an external hard drive connector right there. We have a VGA and an HDMI video connector to connect our screens to. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 USB 3.0 ports. These are the new USB type connectors that are a lot faster than the USB 2.0. So these are USB 2.0 over here on the left side, and we have 4 USB 4 ports right here. This is where we hook our Ethernet cable in for our internet connection, networking, and over here we have audio connectors for surround sound. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how to put this into the case. And let me show you, let's look in the case one more time and show you something that's very important before you start trying to put a motherboard into a case. The motherboard has to screw into the back panel of the case here. Let me get rid of some of these cables here so you can see. There are these holes in the motherboard, and every motherboard is going to have a different number of holes, and they will be located in slightly different places. So this is something that's different for every motherboard. When you look at the back plate here, you see that there are 1, 2, and over here 3 and 4. It's kind of hard to see that one down here. Gold. These are called motherboard standoffs. Let me get one of these out of the bag so you can see exactly what that is, and we'll try to zoom in so you can see what it is that we're talking about. Let me put some more light on there so we can see what we're talking about. This has a screw on the bottom, and then on the top it has a screw hole. What you do with these is you have to figure out where the holes are on the motherboard that need to be screwed in, and then you take these little connectors and you screw them into the holes here on the back plate where they need to be. Now, don't be lazy and leave off some of these. Everywhere you see one of these screw holes, right, like this one, these screw holes serve two purposes. Number one, to hold the motherboard so that it doesn't flop around. But second, it's also to give the motherboard grounding points. So it helps the electronics on the motherboard work correctly. If you were to leave off one of these, sometimes your motherboard can build up extra charge that it can't dissipate, that it needs to, and you'll have problems with your computer crashing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the manual, and I'm also going to kind of hold this up to the back plate, and I'm going to look through and figure out which of these holes back here on the back plate need the standoffs, and then when we put the motherboard in, we'll know where to put the screws.